Hey, has any work gotten done on the Google Doc that you can tell?
I'm looking at it now, and I don't see anything new. The Google Sheet there, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it just
If it's
you
okay.
and me, Elliot, that have commented on it so far,
Looks like it's you and me on the sheet, and I don't think I'm looking at
Darlene, I like your backdrop. That's pretty cool. So Elliot, if it's okay with you, can we use your version of the document? Like you share screen and we'll just work directly on that?
Yeah, the only issue I have is my, for some reason or other, using my laptop for Teams is nuts. And
Okay.
so I'm actually on Teams on my iPad, and I've got the laptop open in the docs, but so I don't know if I can share the screen here. Let me figure.
How about can you send me that link, or did you already send it to me? You did, huh? I'm getting everything mixed up. All my LAPAC stuff right now. Hold on, let me find it.
Yes, you are there. I can just see right now.
There, shared. Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
My laptop just crashed that whole with my browser.
Oh man, I just found your email and I'm getting into the Google Doc right now, so maybe I can just share.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back.
Verification show code. All right. Google is skeptical that I am who I say I am. So one moment. Sent me a code. 8. I'm in.
Good. Oh, I see.
I can share.
Right.
Oh, you can? Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share and just make the edits as we go. That works.
Okay, so are we going to work with this? Had we finished with the survey replies?
I believe we had. That's what we were doing before we switched over to this, but let me double check my notes.
I think we've got a couple more to go.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Crashed again.
Thank you. Oh, no.
I think we're number 26.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought we had a few more questions to go.
Okay, let me go grab my binder. One moment. Oh, wait. Actually, I'm doing it online.
And Elliot, Elliot and Maria, before we get into this, into the nitty gritty, Elliot, you and I talked the other day, and you had some specific questions for Maria, didn't you? About, do you think it's better to deal with that here or back channel or at the end of the meeting or?
Well, it basically had to do with the overall structure of the area plan. And how we were going to take this massive dump of information that's come through the questionnaire, through the review of the GOPI, as well as all the input that we've been making in the review of the area plan, how that's all going to be digested and synthesized into a structure. Also, Maria, I had a nice chat with Betsy today, who's a dear friend and colleague, and you know. You've been working closely with her on this same issue about, and also as we kind of started to share notes, recognizing that this process of looking at the old plans are in such different structures as well. So
yes, they are.
It would be so just kind of going through a step-by-step review of the old plans also is going to, I'm just imagining a huge, as I say, just. It's like a pile of input, and
pile of input. That's
I want to say
a provocative visual image.
A steaming pile of input. And,
we are being recorded, so
yeah, right.
and so you know, I don't want to get to some other future point and have us say, oh, wait a second, we didn't, or we should have, or why didn't we I'd like to kind of think about, how this is all going to, be synthesized so that we can have the, at least, a chance at some kind of intelligent, comprehensible, future useful structure. And I know that you're, and we'd like to give you as much assistance as we can in this. And it was my understanding in a way that this is without a lot of consultant backup here, especially you and your staff to do this.
So far, my plan was next week when we're done with LAPAC meetings is I start working on gathering this data into and process, sort of synthesizing it into the 5 deliverables that each LAPAC is going to forward to the core team for informing the update. What I plan to use is the Google Doc that we are working on to convey our input on the GOPIs. I like how you turned that into an acronym. That works good. And then also where the input on the stuff we did or the items that we're doing in person is pretty easy to convey because it's just a report on possible planning boundary amendments, community growth boundary expansions. Do we want them? And if so, where? Land use designation changes. Do we want any? If so, where? So those 3 are pretty easy to capture. The bigger parts, the more robust bullet points will be the input on our GOPIs, which will have this document, as well as our input, anything we wanted to add or highlight on the second survey, in which case I will just, I'll be going through our meetings on the second survey and pulling out those items that we wanted to make sure were included or highlighted. So that's what I'm doing next week.
So for example, I'm thinking about the really tremendous amount of work that Chris did on that survey. We didn't go through that, in our point by point, but it didn't mean that, a lot of that is still not pertinent, valued, and useful. So
absolutely, all the data from the survey is included.
Okay, it
is part of the process.
Well, again, as I said, that just seems like a tremendous amount of material. And so could you refresh me, please? And I apologize for not having this top of mind, but what those 5 deliverables are?
Certainly. So the first one is input on the second community survey.
Okay, survey.
The one, and I think of them as first and fifth because I'm just picturing that agenda as I typed it out. The 5th one, which could be second, is the input on existing policies, objectives, and implementations.
Okay.
Then we have any amendments for the community growth boundaries.
Okay.
If there are any. Land use designations, amendments, and planning area boundary amendments. That's the 5.
Got it. Okay, so it's basically the stuff we've done so far, 1 and 5, and then tomorrow we're all going to go through 2, 3, and 4.
Exactly.
Okay, and how is that? Do you have yet a model or a template for how the area plans are actually going to be structured?
Yes. So far, they have that. Let me see if I had it. Excuse me, itchy nose. I had. Actually, Shoreline had a similar question, so I pulled up the document. Let me find it. I'll share it again. Where did I find it?
2050?
No, I emailed it to everybody like a gazillion emails ago. But it was a bunch of different, it was one where I sent like 5 attachments, but let me pull it up right now because it's the local area plan outline. And so it does cover each of the elements. So where are we? I'll share the And then I will mail this out as well, so that we have it easily accessible. So here's the planning area elements. Keep going faster. One moment. Detailed organization. Okay, here we get into the structure. This is typical in order of the different subject matters. So there's land use, circulation, open space, conservation, recreation, EJ, our environmental justice, with facilities, economic development.
Okay. So all of these conversation that we've been having, that is pertinent to the area plan will be somehow fit into what some of those. Okay. Thank you.
And my pleasure. And the input that we gather tomorrow at our in-person meeting will inform the map itself. So then with our timeline.
When you say the map, can you elaborate just a little bit?
Certainly. It would be the general plan land use designation map, as well as that would include community growth boundaries also, and planning area boundaries. That will be the map update.
And before you forward the synthesized material that we've been working on as a group to the GPAC, right? That's the General Planning Advisory Committee. Will we have an opportunity to take a look at it and
I was thinking as soon as
loving stamp?
I would like that. Yes. So next week, as I do compile these packets for each planning area, I'm going to send it out to the LAPAC just so you can double check to make sure I was on the right page. Didn't miss anything glaring, but I'm not going to send it to the GPAC. I'm going to send it to the core team. And it will directly inform. I'm not going to have GPAC add or change or delete anything from the local.
Okay, good. I wasn't clear what the distinction between the core team and the GPAC, but
VPAC was part of the original scope of work, and they were going to oversee the local and the general plan elements. But I kind of, I don't know why it didn't hit me before, but after the board signed that agreement, I thought, that's just not right. That's not going to work. So that's why we went with establishing LAPACs. Because I don't think a 15-member general plan advisory committee is really has the local expertise or local knowledge which is required for the area plan inputs.
Yeah, no, for sure. So when you're talking the core team, you're talking about PlaceWorks, et cetera, right?
Yes, that is county staff and contractor staff, PlaceWorks staff.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha now. Okay, I'm clear. I don't know if anybody else is, but
the overall timeline then is I thought we were going to have public review by January, but they at the last meeting, they're like, no, that would be crazy to have all that ready. So we actually are going to have public review period starting in May. So you guys get not only the holiday off, but the rest of the winter. And I'll circle back around with my little email that says LAPAC on it to start reining us all back together to consider then the drafts of the local area plans.
So that's good. So we'll have January, February, March, April to begin to actually look at and think about before the formal engagement process begins. We can be thinking further about everything that we've generated and
sure. And you can start making the list of I should have said, make that list too.
So it sounds like then the contractor, who's responsible for actually writing this thing? Is it the contractor?
Yep. They're going to be doing the drafts, but then we do first an internal review amongst staff, and then we'll get it back to them, and then we get the public review.
Okay. Is there any step before the full public review that we can have an interim review as well?
No, that's not on the timeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we would just
Plus,
be part of the general public review?
Yeah, because the LAPACs are important, but it's also public. So I want as much public also participating at the same time. Yeah, so LAPACs will get it as soon as we go out for public review. But then modifications or edits will be done via the LAPACs, hopefully with significant public input.
Got it. Okay.
And
y'all are like the voting members.
And have you thought about just what? Yet you may not have. It's 6 months away. What the general public input structure will be? How we're going to do that?
You know, I was thinking about holding some more, probably an in-person meeting, which I think I'd like to double up with the municipal advisory councils at that time again, because the public already kind of is sort of aware of those. And I think that it would be better, it would help us to maximize both exposure and getting people in by using those.
100%.
We can also hold some virtuals if we need to. So I'm open. I haven't really planned that part out so far, but we'll make sure that we get sufficient opportunities for input to be submitted.
Great. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. This gives me a much better view and vision of where we're headed. I just one other question. Are you seeing the level of participation on the LAPACs diminish? I mean, we very regularly have all of our members here.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's a plan to re-engage somehow or figure out how, I mean, I think it's important to have not only the public here, but the people that were appointed.
Well, early on in this process, I had to make the decision that to keep myself from getting depressed, I was just going to work with whoever was able to show up.
Fair,
so
right.
That is keeping me mentally healthy. And I know that
we'll be the
I've
judge
got
of that.
right. I've got other members of the team responsible for outreach and notifications and hearings and stuff. I'm focused on making sure that I'm like really present during these meetings to gather that input. But I'm just going to work with the people who show up. All the LAPAC members get the invites. You know, the people we got, it was not very robust participation in the doodle polls. So we went with the best we could. And we did try to schedule the in-person meetings, you know, in the evenings to catch folks who may not be able to attend during the day. And we've tried to switch it up as we have scheduled these things to sort of maybe catch different people. So, but I can't begin to imagine all the reasons why people haven't attended the LAPAC meetings because, you know, just because we applied doesn't mean that we don't all have busy lives. I can understand.
Right, for sure.
And we may catch a lot more. Maybe people might jump in more again once we have an actual draft to look at. Sometimes that's helpful too.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, and we can, I mean, like, probably the LAPACs themselves can shake the tree a little bit and find out what's going on in their little groups.
Yeah, I'm not going to give up.
To Elliot's point, it doesn't all have to fall on your shoulders. We're here to help you and support you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And I do rely on you for communications. And I know that you have a lot of ongoing chats with folks specific to this topic. And I just really appreciate that. All right. Darlene is not sure why your microphone is not working. Ruby.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I hear you.
Oh, okay, good. It is working. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. You're here. Good. So thanks everybody for joining us for this virtual Cobb Mountain Area Plan Advisory Committee meeting. We are finishing up our second survey input, and then we're going to switch over to the goals, objectives, policies, and implementations of the current Cobb Mountain Area Plan to see if there's anything we want to make sure we keep or discard or change. The default position when we do these updates is to pull all of the active stuff in and continue it. So LAPAC's local knowledge as to what needs to be updated and changed a little bit or thrown out is very helpful. Let's start with introductions. I am Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. Elliot, how about you go next?
Elliot Hurwitz. I'm the director of the Cedar Springs Community Redevelopment Association, which is a Cobb area 501c3 doing community organizing.
Awesome. Thank you. Darlene?
I'm Darlene Warner. I am a current member of the Cobb Area Council and a retired business and legal executive.
Oh, thank you. Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris Nettles. I'm a professional community psychologist. I am also the treasurer for the Cobb Area Council and the LAPAC, the Cobb Area Council member of this LAPAC. So,
Super. Pam?
I'm Pamela Coleman. I'm a second-term AmeriCorps member, which stands for California Emergency Response Corps, and I currently reside in Loch Lomond. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And Robert?
Hi, I am Robert Thomas, and a resident of Cobb since 2011, and local business owner R2 and Company. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay, let's pull up. I'm going to share screen and pull up the second community survey starting at question 27. No, not you. Let me get there. It was just here. Did I not? I thought I, wait, I know I did. What happened? Oh, there it is. Excellent. Okay, can everybody see that, or should I zoom in a little?
Zoom in a little bit more. There you go. That's good.
That better?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to minimize the camera so I can't see you. So I know, Chris, you really like the orderly hand raising thing, but since I'm working off my laptop, I can't see the hand raising, and there aren't that many of us. So I vote if you have something to input, please just go ahead and let me know.
that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, there's only a few of us here, so I don't
Awesome.
mind talking over people.
Thank you. Question 26. How should the county support local and small businesses? So here are the multiple choice. You know, I am totally losing my words. Thanksgiving is going to be very nice. Encourage shopping locally. Promote entrepreneurial development. I'm looking. Oh, I'm scrolling. There's no Chris thing here. All right. So I'll just go back to the
Yeah, I mean,
multiple choice.
a lot of my more circular economy business ideas were much earlier in the document.
Okay.
I can't see the comments down there. I may have said, see question, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
I didn't I guess I didn't in this particular case. Oh, that it may be. I don't know if it's, I mean, like a lot of my interest has been circular economy component. I'm not sure if, actually that looks like Robert's comment. I'm not sure if it is or not, or Elliot's, but it's also in keeping with some of the thinking that I've had. I think, you know, several of us are all in sort of the same groove. And I do notice that circular economy, support for entrepreneurs, more cottage industry and home-based industries were all very popular. And I can't give that enough of an endorsement.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else?
The only thing I'm also thinking of at the moment is that in terms of our land use designations and zoning, that we did, again, to harp back on my pet project here, is that we did want to explore the opportunity for what we call neighborhood scale commercial within the rural hamlet zoning overlay designation. So this is another kind of business development that would, and yeah, I know that will want to spend some time kind of with the technical planners in terms of how we actually define a neighborhood scale or walkable scale commercial. But that's also something that would like to see as a feature of our local plan.
Good. So tomorrow, let's make sure we remember that when we're looking at land use designation amendments, so that we can think about how we would embed that. Good. Love it. In Ukiah.
Jessica just arrived.
Oh, super. Hey, Jessica. In Ukiah, the city of Ukiah, I worked over on Seminary, and if you walk around in the neighborhoods, it's surrounded by mostly residential and then commercial down a few roads. But the residential area has just this little corner store right there, and it's so perfect because it totally just supports that residential area surrounding it. It's really cool. So, are you thinking like something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bodega.
Neato. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mixed use.
Yeah.
Yep. Mixed use. Definitely.
Yeah. As well as, it could be like a 2-machine laundromat. It could be a 1-room gym. Could be a body work or acupuncture place. Things like that.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
Absolutely. And I just saw that a few weeks ago, and I haven't had an opportunity to go pull down exactly what the details are, but Sonoma County Board of Supervisors just passed some amendment to either their zoning or permitting process that allows for home-based restaurants or food service of some kind, which I thought was really interesting as well. So you may know more about that than I do, but just to tack on yet another neighborhood scale, mixed use, walkable, the sort of everything within that philosophy.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I think we did pass some ordinance. So, sorry, go ahead, Robert.
I'm already trampling. I apologize. I was actually just going to validate something I for myself as a business owner coming into it, kind of stepping in the beginning, not really, knowing a whole lot about growing the business itself, and Lake County Economic Development Corporation stepped in and helped us quite a bit. And just business development, kind of giving us homework along the way, how to register and grow with SAM.gov and trying to work with the state, things of that such. And then, working with the RCD, our application for LTO licenses in now, so just different organizations have helped. And so if I'm in the right zone, I think the only thing that I noticed when I was first starting was what I feel like we've already kind of moved through, which was that maybe not everyone's ready for the growth that the community might need something. And where my passion is in that, we were up there just on the hill pushing, trying to make a difference, and we needed a resource closer to us. And I just felt like when I would kind of step into that zone, there just wasn't a lot of information at that time, not a lot of understanding of maybe where we were at or what we needed to support us in that way. But even just by coming through this channel with you, Mireya, like you've mentioned it a couple of times, and that makes me feel heard, understood, and that there's hope that whatever needs to come into place to better support us up there for what we're doing is happening. So I just wanted to validate that, really, that you guys are already doing a pretty good job, because
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Anything else before we move on to the next one?
I have a comment. I'm not sure if it fits into this particular, it's Darlene, since my camera's not working. Yeah. I'm not sure if it fits into this particular area, but business licenses, because in our, of course, in a city, it's, we have that, but, I just wanted to broach that subject. The
board has talked about it periodically.
Okay. Yeah.
But
just, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Patrick Sullivan, the treasurer tax collector, has said, do not do that. He does not have the staff. It will pretty much destroy his department. So, yeah, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. The board hasn't really given him direction either way of where they want to go in the future, but that's the latest. That's the last time I heard about it.
Okay, yeah, because a couple ideas that are thoughts that I have are, with like, for instance, a big box store. Of course, we've already talked about that, but not necessarily big box store, but some company that wants to come in and, buy up everything and take over everything, so that we don't have somebody or some company come in and have a monopoly, and to keep our small town feel and that sort of thing, somewhere that we can not necessarily regulate it, but keep our, our thumb on the pulse of things to make, some sort of way to limit, the big stuff from happening that we don't want to happen.
To protect the rural character in small towns. Yeah. I hear you. And I think that there's a section of that in our, the Gobi document that speaks to economic development where that should be captured. Yeah.
Okay.
And Jessica has her hand up.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead, Jessica.
I still have the hand issue thing. I was messing with it.
Well, don't worry about it because we threw it away for today. So
okay, that's
jump on in.
So along the lines of encouraging, business and such to come into the community, I do know that historically there have been some limitations with liquor licenses in this area for quite a while. And right now, there aren't that many that are up here. There have been people over the years that have held on to theirs and not sold them. And we now have a developer, business owner who holds more than one in this area. So I know that's something that people don't often think about, and I know that's something that's through ABC and all of that. But, if we had somebody who wanted to bring in a small bistro or a restaurant or something along those lines, and they wanted to have like wine and beer or liquor or whatnot, it's been an issue in the past. And
I'd be interested to hear more about that offline because so the way it goes is ABC takes in that application and then they take a look at the supporting population or something. But if they have a issue with it, they send us a letter saying that we need to give them like it's called I forget what it's called, but it's basically a letter that says, yeah, we're fine with it in this location, which we have routinely sent to all requests where the zoning is appropriate ever since I started with planning, so in 2014. So I'd love to hear more if people are having difficulty with that, and we'll figure that out because that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, no, and that is concerning, and that is not something that we can deal with at a community level. That is definitely something that needs to be on the county's radar. It's been an issue in the past. Historically, it's always been a battle for those liquor licenses because they only allocate so many per area or whatnot, and predominantly it's been fewer in this area. I'm sure it's because whatever their guidelines are as to why, there's probably reasoning for it. But my concern is now we have business owners who hold more than one of those liquor licenses in the area, and if they're already scarce, how do we create an environment so that we can, if we find a really good opportunity and somebody is interested, that we can help them along and ensure that they're not going to walk away because the liquor license was too difficult. Totally. Yeah, no. I think it's called like a letter of public necessity or something like that. And so long as the property is zoned for like a restaurant or bistro or someplace where you would anticipate alcohol being served on site, then we send those out. Okay. So because we let the state know that it's consistent with the zoning. So how would that work with some of these cottage businesses if we look at future forward,
doing something, slightly different in terms of where businesses are allowed to be,
That would be an issue with the home-based or the cottage industries, because I don't see getting a liquor license to sell, have a bar in your house for commercial use. There's all kinds of restrictions at the state level that would get in your way before you ever ask the county.
Right.
But we're not gonna support that level of, or that type of use, because it hasn't in a house. That creates different impacts, I think, that might impact the residential character of our neighborhoods. And so we're trying to protect that while paving the way and streamlining and making it easier for people to have home-based businesses.
I don't even think you could get liability insurance to run something like that out of your house. So
exactly. Insurance would definitely be one that would put the kibosh on that really quickly. I'm looking at more along the lines of like, if you have a place that's zoned where you have residential, but then you also have some potential for commercial, whether it be in a barn or an outbuilding, or, how does that end up working if we have smaller scale businesses like that? That aren't the traditional way of seeing a bar or restaurant or whatnot, but is appropriate. But then here we have ABC with their guidelines and regulations and such are saying, no, it's not, because it's not in the cookie cutter box way that we want it.
I don't anticipate that being too much of an obstacle, because we'll have, that's why we're going to talk about it for the land use designation amendments. This is, we would say, this is where we kind of see like a neighborhood corner store being located. We're going to zone that appropriately.
Okay.
And if it's zoned appropriately, that's what the state cares about.
Okay. Yeah. No, there's just something that came up. I've had to deal with ABC at the regional level before for festivals, and they like to swim in their gray areas sometimes and make it really hard for everybody else, even though, we actually had representatives at the assembly that were supporting us, and we still had, wrench in the works with ABC. So I've come from those experiences. I'm not sure, how the county would work with all of that. And I don't know, maybe they've changed since then. It's been a bit. That would be something that would impede somebody wanting to, open up a business like that.
I hear you. Yep. Good. I made note. So kind of acting as a liaison or supporting local business, and working collaboratively with our state friends. Sounds good. What else? We are scrolling. How should the county support the tourism economy? What tourism do we have out in Cobb?
Well, we've got a new owner to our kind of anchor golf course up here, who's putting a tremendous amount of resources in it. We'll see what the payoff is going to be. There's the old motel has been sold to a new owner who's taking a slow but long but apparently in-depth renovation of something they've now renamed it the Fainting Couch.
That's pretty cute. Yeah,
it is cute. Okay. I have no idea what this is supposed to be, but I understand that they're marketing it to groups. So
follow them on Instagram. They've got if you put in Fainting Couch on Instagram, you'll find them. They do some pretty good posts of the rooms and such.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on in Cobb. It's like a forest getaway.
I think we're slowly seeing the mountain bike scene regenerate, which was, we're hoping for a long and steady increase in that. And of course, Mandala Springs itself is, they've made a serious commitment to long-term development. They're putting a lot of investment into that. I think it's slow, but steady improvement right now. That's my subjective take on it.
Great. So how can the county come alongside?
Well, I think that part of it could be, I think it's probably, I don't know how this relates to the scope of the actual county, other than the tourism improvement district and the chamber work. I think we would like to see, and at a certain point, we did try and get more formal affiliation between the Cobb Mountain businesses and the Middletown Area Merchants Association and the Kelsey Business Association. That was, not that successful, really. I think that part of it is we still are in the commercial area a relatively small player. I don't know. I'm sorry that was too long-winded to say I don't know.
No, it's helpful. Do you know of any Cobb business organizations?
That's his point. We tried to form one, and it didn't have wings.
I see.
At the point that we tried, I see a couple of hands. Well, I see Darlene's got her hand raised, but one of the things that sort of comes to mind for me about the county coming alongside is any sort of streamlining of processes or diminishment of red tape that can facilitate businesses getting off the ground early, when they're, quickly. Because sometimes, and I'm not sure if it's just normal grumbling about the gears of government, but sometimes I do hear undercurrents of, gosh, everything we do takes forever to get through the processes. And so any sort of thing that we can do to make that, I don't want to use the term more efficient, because sometimes efficiency results in less quality, but if we can make the process more rapid without losing the oversight that we need.
Good. Streamline processes and remove governmental obstacles to get business through the permit process and get started more rapidly. Got it.
Right.
That's good. Yeah, totally. And we do. I am interested in any ideas, because we're always trying to figure out how can we, get these building permits turned around faster. Or I can't speak for EH as far as getting out and doing inspections. So we are always looking for ways to make it easier for the public to navigate our building permit system, and but the planning permits can take a while. So because then you get CEQA thrown in. But we are always open if you have suggestions. Yeah.
Well, maybe some of the CEQA stuff is something that the county can work with the state around. I know there have been green tape initiatives and things like that. So especially if we've got companies and organizations that are right in line with our sustainability and transition to non-carbon economy framework.
Good thinking. Yeah, maybe, because after we finish the Lake County 2050 process, the general plan and local area plan updates, then that's when we we launch the comprehensive update of the zoning code. Maybe the zoning code can reflect that by if businesses are, I like that, if businesses are closely matching the ideas of the community, perhaps with objective design and development standards, they can go into the allowed use, don't need a planning permit, and only need maybe building permits for any required tenant improvements or things that might be necessary.
Hallelujah. I love it. Yeah. I see Darlene's hand us up too. But I love
okay,
that
Chris,
that's
making
the kind of thinking that
yeah, that'd be cool. I'm making you the person who guides the hand raising, since I can't see anything. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, it's Darlene. I didn't know. I have Jessica. If she's got number 1 and I've got number 2, but I don't know if her hand is permanently up or not.
Jessica's permanently giving us the hand.
Oh, okay.
I do have something to say, darling, but please go ahead.
Okay. All right. So Jessica's next. But for the Lake County to support the tourism economy, of course, I hail from Napa County, an extremely tourism-centric county, as we all know. So my thought, of course, we don't want to be Napa County and wine growing region. And, that's what Napa County is centric on. But I'm thinking of Up Valley, like Calistoga. It's a relatively short drive over the mountain. We've got the casino, Twin Pine, possibly working with Twin Pine for, bringing people up to this area. But we've got the fun stuff, the lake, the casino, and here in Cobb specifically, that we might be able to get people to stay up here and then go down to Napa County for their wine fun. But then don't want drunk people on the mountain, but, somehow tying it, there's a number of different tourism people in Napa County that I could connect this county with, but as far as, tourism, if they want to get away from wine tasting and, get out on the lake, et cetera, et cetera. So, with Napa County being so well established with tourism, and I get the feel, from Lake County that we don't want to go that direction. We want to keep that down there. But with some of the, of course, Beckstoffer's already up here. Andy Beckstoffer owns pretty much all of downtown Napa. So, I see his vineyards up here. And, of course, I don't want to poo-poo, vineyards, or whatnot. But, I think maybe there's a tie-in there. Especially with Up Valley, Calistoga, and that sort of thing. So there might be some crossover.
Good. Got it.
Jessica's turn.
It's always my turn, right?
Yeah. Permanent hand.
Permanent hand. Yeah, that's so not like me and my personality anyway. But something that I think would be a really simple solution for things in terms of bringing in tourism economy more so that would help support everything. And it's kind of a passive way of doing things with information, but we don't have signage up here. Really plain and simple. We have our One Cobb Mountain sign on the south side, and we don't have anything on the other areas coming into Cobb Mountain. We don't have really good signage for Bog State Forest and what it is.
Yeah.
If you're smart and savvy enough, you can go on to all trails and figure out their trails around here. But, having something that's a little more simplified along those lines. I've also noticed, our Visit Lake County, I love that the latest magazine has Boggs Lake in it, but it does not represent what it is. We've had a lot of people coming around here since then that are totally clueless as to what it is and think it's a recreation area. And, plain and simple, let's change things. Plus, the information is not 100% accurate as far as the description of what it is. Let's look at what we already have out there that's identifying who we are and clarify, correct, give more information, put it in more places. Another known issue in this area is Google Maps gets so many people lost. We can't fix that on our own. I can't call them up and go, hey, you guys screwed it all up here. That has to be something that comes from county or agency efforts to help to clarify that. Having that support to help fine tune those things. And then, kind of push our natural wonderland a little bit more. Obviously, it would be great to have some sort of a business association, and we could do like a visit, Cobb Mountain, like Visit Kelseyville has. But then the other part of that is with any smaller community like this, you have your few events that pull people in, and Blackberry Festival is fantastic. If there are other events that are something that somebody comes up with or whatnot, making sure there's a streamlined process with the county so the permitting will happen, so it's not too difficult, so people aren't turned away by all of that, because we don't have a strong business association. It can be tough because you don't have those networks to go through. So until we get that, ensuring whoever in the county needs to know if somebody's like, hey, I'm really interested in doing this huge festival up on Cobb at this such and such place, and I've got the approval of Cobb Area Council and the community's buy-in on it and all of that. Let's make that process for the permitting more streamlined instead of running us through circles trying to figure it all out, because we're not like KBA who has it down. And even with them, they have problems, not with the county necessarily, with the state sometimes. So just making that pathway to creating more opportunities. Once again, county liaison of sorts with the other agencies would be fantastic. Simple things like signage. I know that's a quick state call. Hey, you know what? 175 needs better signage for, our state forest, or, I don't even know if our population signs are anywhere close anymore. I don't think, have they been changed since the fires? They don't seem right. So, those types of things. Yeah, those types of things that are little, but they make a big difference. And, just starting small with things like that, I think would be really helpful.
Two things. I'd like to riff on something that you said, Jessica. First of all, just a point of humor. The population of Cobb Mountain and the towns here depends upon which direction you're coming from, because the signs from different directions have different numbers on them.
That's it.
Anyway,
okay.
Jessica, to your point about festivals and things like that, and people who haven't done it before, not knowing how to interact with the county, maybe as a tourism supporting activity, the county can work with either the municipal area councils or the committees that put together Pear Fest and Bacon Festival and other things over in Kelsey, et cetera, to create a checklist that's this is what you need to do if you want to put on a festival in Lake County. I would love to see us have a festival and resort economy during the summer, and just festivals going on a regular basis around here. But it's a heavy lift. And if there were anything that we could do that makes the process move more quickly, like a checklist with embedded forms and a click for an email for the application to go off to the right place, something that facilitates the process.
The county permits are pretty easy from my experience in the past, because they've helped out with a lot of the KBA events with Kelseyville. They're pretty straightforward, right, Mireya? They're pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's the larger community events. We also offer zoning permits for special events,
right,
which is what you see sometimes if people are holding an event at, on a property or something like that too. So this is good stuff.
Does the county have a checklist, though, for those two separate types of events, and what permit is needed? And, if you're interested in doing this, then you need to do this, and this. Here is the permit, linked to the form. And then they know exactly what they need to fill out and what office they need to go through to do that, to have that permissive piece. I think that the people that have done the larger events in this county have done them for so long. And yes, Chris, some of them do have a binder. Pear Festival's perfect for that.
Yeah, we have a binder.
Yeah.
We do. We have one
checklist.
for Blackberry Festival. Absolutely.
Right. But for those for those that aren't coming directly to talk to the people that have done it before, because maybe they don't know, and they've been told they have to get a permit with the county. It might be one of those things that would be really helpful to have some sort of a checklist for that.
Absolutely.
And I know there have been some of these music events that have been up here that have been under the radar, and I know that that's something that's been talked about with the county and such too. How do we get them on board to be on the level about it and get the community more involved?
So, as I was taking notes on all the different points, we are working on final preparations of our online permitting system, which is going to include a public-facing portal. I just added notes to see if the checklist with embedded applications is something that we could add, like a module to that system, because I think that, having a checklist to walk people through makes a lot of sense. We do have some outreach or some educational materials on the different types of permits, but I don't know if we have one on special events. So I make note to figure it out, find out. Yeah, good stuff. Let's see. And also, I like the idea of sort of marketing Lake County as kind of like a hub for our tourists. So come stay in Lake County where it's nice and quiet. And then if you really need to, you can go over to Napa, but to use us as like a launch point, because we are kind of away from everything, but we are like close to everything. So I think that's a really cool idea. I captured that one from Darlene. I did not know that Google Maps gets people lost in Cobb. I definitely think that we should put in some sort of implementation plan that the county can work with the local, I don't know, would that be a municipal advisory council kind of thing? Would they know? If not, I'm not sure who, or work with the community to get that fixed and then reach out. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think also simple things like as part of the trails and parks plan that there's always signage included there. And I know that's not your territory necessarily, but
that it doesn't have to be CDD, because general plan also tells other departments what to do.
So. Right. Yeah. So signage being included in any of the park or trails plans that we do seems critical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And not just signage, but signage for what the uses are. We have different uses for our recreation around here, and making sure that that's somehow displayed on the sign or notifying the public for those drive-by people. Yeah,
totally. And I totally agree that Bog State Forest needs signage, because after Valley Fire, it looked completely different, and I drove by it. Yes. I couldn't find it anymore. Yeah, totally agree. Good thoughts. Stuff. How should the county support a healthy local economy? It's kind of similar to what we were just talking about, I think, supporting the local businesses through removal of governmental obstacles and streamlining for increased efficiency of process. Anybody have anything else to add to that one?
I'd like to explore another area of this, just in terms of understanding opportunities for government assistance. I know a lot of it is through federal and state, through the Small Business Administration and the Community Development Block Grant Program. That there are opportunities that could be helped through, I know, again, not just through, again, this is not planning department, but I know it is through the development of, again, the ones that I'm familiar with, again, the Community Development Block Grant Program, Small Business Administration, assistance, finding a way for the county to help focus available small business, either through planning or access to capital.
Okay, good.
And I have a comment.
Oh, go ahead, Darlene. You go ahead again.
Okay.
I'll wait.
Yeah, Chris might be able to speak more to this about the funds that we have available with Cobb Area Council to assist small businesses. We do have, I think it's 48,000. That was a grant from years ago that's available for new, small business development for the area. So that's something that we do have on the books that we can utilize, to help small businesses get going here.
Yeah, the how and the administration of something like that is always part of the challenge.
Yeah. I think Jessica has something to say.
So one of the things I was just thinking about, Mireya, are there, when we're all done with the, all of this work in preparation to, update and upgrade the general plan and such, are there going to be areas, I don't know, on county website, like per area that will have information? For instance, how many areas do we have right now?
We have 8 planning areas.
8 planning areas. Okay, so for each of those 8 planning areas, at whatever site or page on the county website is going to be the hub for these and have all of that information and everything there. Is it possible to have a link externally that'll go to a homepage for each of those areas? It'll have the information about, what the area plan is, but then also any sort of economic opportunities, any sort of funding opportunities, just like kind of the one-stop shop little spot for some information that can be there at the county level for all of those planning needs that are coming out of all of this. So somebody moving to the area, when they're just trying to figure out where to go or what they're thinking about, if they're like, I'm going to Lake County, I'm going to open my business there, then it'll be a point of direction for them to go to get started and then find out, oh, okay, well, the Cobb area, they have a council. It's a municipal advisory council. They have these things they offer. They have these meetings on these days. Or the zoning, we can look at a zoning map here. Is this going to work for where it is I'm wanting to, just having that one place for information. I don't know how hard that would be, but it definitely would be something I think would be extraordinarily accessible to new people coming into the area or people who have been here that have never explored any of that information, to be able to find that and then be able to work out from that and know where to go with their, research.
Interesting idea.
Just a thought. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Talk to Ben about this one. Interesting. Okay. Webpage on each planning area with link to the local area plan and MAC and events and to assist with economic development. Don't know, but maybe we could set it as a policy.
I think it would be really beneficial to each of these areas, because if they're not a city center or larger business district community type of an area, it's a lot harder for people to figure out where to go to get some of that basic information. And, if they're coming here and they're thinking about building or opening a business, they know they have to go to the county at some point in time and look for information.
Mm-hmm.
It just a thought.
I think it's great. Yeah. I don't know who would manage it, or do it, but I'm putting it on there. Okay. So now we're out of economic development and we're into hazard management. So how should the general plan or the county work to reduce wildfire risk?
Okay, I'm gonna jump in on this one and hope I can be quick and summary.
I'm typing as quick as I can. Keep it going.
There should be a dynamic link in our area plan and the general plan to the Cobb Mountain Area Community Wildfire Protection Plan, and that's where the comprehensive consideration of this issue should reside.
Wait, the plan that you're working on but does not exist yet?
Not for 2 more years. And at this point, there is at least the county-wide, the county CWPP. And again, without taking too much time right now, we have already outlined in the proposal for this CWPP numerous areas that it would cover. That's in that third bullet there under other responses. Firewise communities, local business sector, radio, local radio, coordinate with OES. A lot of the main topic categories are already captured in that third bullet.
Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. Okay. How about
so it does exist? Some people have copies. Many people have copies. Is there? Oh, sorry, I'm just being.
Wait, the Cobb area? Because I thought that was the one that you just got the grant to do.
That's right. It will take.
Yeah. So it doesn't exist yet, right? It's in process.
Correct.
Okay. How about a link to the MAC, and then the MAC be the house for that? Because then when it is available, it would go there, and we wouldn't have to do an update. We'd have an embedded link already in the finished area plan elements that would lead towards the municipal advisory council, and then use that as a place to house those type of pertinent documents. Do you think that would work?
Yeah, I think that could work. I think that once it exists, and it will exist, I think having a more direct link would be preferable. But
yeah,
because the MAC will be the Cobb Area Council will be one significant, if not the most significant forum, and a way that will be revised, but potentially not all of it.
Okay. Good.
What is it possible, Elliot, to have it on the Mac as a draft in progress type of a thing? Whatever information you feel is appropriate there, with the intent later on for it to be more accessible via the county directly.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, even before we actually have a formal CWPP that actually propose a draft to the Cobb Area Council that can kind of hold that place until the full formal plan is approved. Yeah, I think that's possible. Yeah, interesting. I have to think about what that would look like, and because basically it would just be something that the I could bring through the Forest Stewardship Committee of the Cobb Area Council.
Well, to your point, Elliot, I mean, I've mentioned this a couple of times, Maria, that I hope that we have some sort of ongoing monitoring and course correction process for these plans. And I think that points directly to the dynamic nature of what Elliot is talking about, because we're going to have various aspects of these plans that need to be understood and maybe course corrected over the course of the next 25 years.
What do you think would be a good interval?
I sent something to you that was sort of a draft with some ideas about that. I can't remember what I put in there, but look for that, and if you can't find it, I'll send it to you again.
Okay.
I emailed it to you, so if you search for CD Nettles,
and
you may find it.
Just kind of off the, just looking at recent history, I think that we see that the 2015 to now is 10 years. I think is a outside limit for that, really. I think 5 to 7 years is, And it's interesting because that's already the RENA cycle is what, 7 years?
Mm, six.
So
Yeah.
6, 7 years. So I think, asking for that kind of revision, particularly as I think we're going to see nothing but an accelerated change process over the coming couple of decades. And I think it's, a 6-year revision, requirement, is not unreasonable.
Okay. Interesting. Good. All right, let's see. 4:09. Just letting you know, I have a hard stop at 4:30 because I got to skedaddle on over to the board chambers for my in-person Lakeport LAPAC. So let's keep going. Flood risk. I'm going to scroll down because I bet you there's some Chris stuff in here, huh? No? Oh, man. I'm getting
I'm not sure that there's, when I saw this question for Cobb, I'm like, at the very most, we might deal with some flash flood risk in the creeks and waterways, but we don't have a lot of flood risk here.
We do have some areas where the creeks do overflow. I'm thinking of the Glenbrook Road gets washed out every year, and that's really has to do with upgrade. It's really is some upgrades to creek crossings.
Yeah, I know which. That's the crossing we were looking at. That we said would probably cost a few $1 million of investment to get corrected.
Right, that's right. We'll be very close to it tomorrow afternoon. Ray, we could show it to you if you like. It's we can
walk over there.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can picture where you're talking. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Creek crossings need to be improved. Culverts need to be maintained.
Yes,
exactly.
Maintained and upgraded. Not all of them. Some of them are aging, and they really need to be upgraded.
Well, and that's a fish passage issue as well.
Yes.
Interesting. Good. Okay. Good stuff. Yep. Let's also upgrade the grading ordinance or update the grading ordinance.
Yeah.
I can't have that in there too much. That's going to be one of our post Lake County 2050 stuff, if not before then. And Todd, our grading and stormwater specialist, I think is his title. He's been working on the updates for since before I came back. So we're ready. We just need the time. Okay.
I do have a question having to do with grading ordinances and such with development. Bottle Rock's been washed out a couple times the last few winters because of the vineyard project. And although it looks as though they've got, wattles and whatnot for all of that, it's still an issue. And so I don't feel like we're going to be escaping it again this year. Honestly, I think there'll be at some point in time that we'll have that come up. And then, I don't know anything about their project. I don't know anything
They did pretty good last year. They washed out a couple of years ago, and then ever since then, the vineyard managers have been in almost daily communication with me when storms are coming to let me know we're already done. We've got all this set up. We're looking good. And last year went fine. So I am anticipating that this year will also be fine because they've done additional work, but they've done much better at doing immediate stormwater management stuff instead of waiting and assuming that we won't get rains till a certain date. They've been way more proactive. Yeah.
Okay. Now, is that something that is planned within their timeframes, or is that something that the county is now saying, okay, because of our more intensity of rainfall during such and such periods of times, you need to make sure you have certain things set in place by a certain time?
Both. It's an ongoing relationship with with county staff and the vineyard manager.
It's just a lot of clearing all at once that's happened there. And I've been up here 25 years and I've never seen that road do that up until the last couple of years. So
there wasn't any question on what caused it. So
yeah, that's
and it's one of those situations where, you know, we assume we know when the rains are coming because that's when they've always happened, and we don't have, as it's always been happening anymore in our weather. So
right.
Yeah, it's kind of it was an unfortunate collision of relying on historic data but having a new environment. So
right. You know, also the amount that we're getting all at once. But obviously that's happened in several areas. So, you know, I just think about that, especially with their water storage up above the road, you know, making sure that everything's in place so that we're not going to have those issues.
Yeah. Okay.
Another quick question about grading, just to slip it in. I know that I just want to put a placeholder in understanding the relationship between grading season and fire season. I know that we've had conflicts here where we've wanted to do fire breaks, and it's been difficult to get grading permits. Again, I don't know the details of it. I know there was a particular incident that we had to go through where there was a fire break we wanted to do, and there was something about the season and
our grading season is May 15th to October 15th.
Okay, but see that, and fire season basically ends October 15th. So if we want to do something that is potentially fire related, we can't do it during the fire season, and then we can't do it during the grading season. So there needs to be an adjustability. I think that the policy should be really, particularly around the boundaries of the season, to provide ministerial flexibility, in terms of granting, grading permits, particularly along the shoulder seasons.
That is a totally excellent point. Yeah.
And that model is already set up with burns and such because of, ag burns versus larger land burns and all of that. You just have to go through multiple agencies in order to do it. And it is agency dependent. So Ellie, I totally am on board with you with that. I think that is a very important thing to allow for that freedom to look at case by case situations and, have the agencies make that, final call and say, yes, this is appropriate. Let's do it now. It's more important to do it now.
Yeah, and I love that. And I do have some authority to authorize grading outside of the grading season, but I would much rather, I think it's always dangerous to give me a lot of discretionary authority. So I'd much rather see it reflected in updating that grading ordinance. I really love that. It's a great idea. And it's a very good point, because the last thing we want you to do is to be using these big weed whackers and stuff during fire season to do a wildfire mitigation project, right? So yeah, right. I totally hear where you're coming from. That's a really good point. Thank you. Okay, we are almost done. Quick time check. 13 minutes left. We haven't even touched the gobies. So, and that is significant. What I'd like to do.
If I could raise just kind of an overall issue about the gobies, and that has to do with with implementation. As I look through them, we have objectives. And then under the objectives, there are policies. But the policies actually some of them seem to be implementation light. Some of them seem to be implying implementation, but nowhere are there actually, projects or called out to be, okay, these are the actual implementation measures that we are calling for. And again, this would be the kind of thing that would be much more subject to our very regular update. Oh yeah, we could check this one off. What are the new implementations based on our goals and objectives and policies? So this is something that I'm seeing, at least in this 1989 version that you have abstracted for us, Maria. It's hard to see, well, what's implementation here?
Okay.
That could be something that could be dealt with in the format of the way that it's presented too. So, in the way that it's worded. Some of these things are longer term. This is a living document of sorts.
You may want to cross-check it with the actual area plan, because the formatting is better in the area plan.
I did do that, and you'll see that I actually did do a level of, bolding and
thank you.
Already kind of called out the objective. So if I'm looking, for example, at objective 3.5, there's an objective, and then under that there are three policies: 3.5A, 3.5B, 3.5C, and then minerals, objective 3.6, then policies 3.6A, B, C. So those are the policies under objective 3.6, but none of them are actually called out that I could see. I'll go back and look at it again, but I didn't see them called out as implementation measures.
I'm hoping that I didn't miss that. So yeah, thank you. Let me know if you find something that I need to fix real quick.
Okay. Also, I see Robert's got his hand up.
Go ahead, Robert.
It was just a quick thing. I just second that what Elliot was mentioning about the grading season. It would be awesome to be able to get out there with our machinery when we're in our off months, just because it's less of a fire risk, pulling brush, whatever it is. It'd be nice to have some flex in that. So thank you. I heard you say that, Ray, just seconding that.
Yeah, I think it's something that will definitely take some more thought, but it makes total sense. So, okay, general plan, improve emergency preparedness. What can we do? Right. Yeah, where do we start?
I'll jump right in with the radio network that we have up here. I think it was mentioned that Cobb AlertNet radio network. There's also another radio network, Lake County North, that operates off of Mount Canocti, and people all around the lake are able to reach that repeater. But it's very helpful when there is an emergency, or even if the highway's closed or whatnot. It is a radio network of residents that live up here, and we've got it set up a little differently than some other networks in other counties and whatnot. But if our phones go out, etc., we've got two-way radio where we're able to communicate with each other here on the mountain, and some of us can reach the Canocti repeater, so we can get out to the whole county. Right now, it's just local, pretty much very localized. What I'd like to see is for it, for the county, for it to be completely county-wide, and working with the OES, to connect everyone, if we have kind of a countywide emergency. But for up here, if there's a small fire, say out off Bottle Rock, I can see across the Hoburg Valley. I can visual on the smoke or whatnot. It works out really good. We've got licensed and unlicensed users where you can just use the basic walkie-talkie, to talk within your neighborhood. But then someone in the neighborhood will be a licensed user where you can use the repeater and go miles. So it's an excellent setup. More and more counties or jurisdictions are using this sort of thing. And it's very easy, but there, people that aren't familiar with radio can use it, but, we can, takes a little bit of a learning curve, but it's very effective. And especially when, our cell phones go out, we're not able to get those watch duty notifications, et cetera, when, if it's a fire. With our terrain up here, it just gives us an extra avenue of communication. So I would like to see it countywide, but anyhow.
Totally. Yeah. Okay.
One other thing that I don't see in here is we've had some movement. It seems to go in fits and starts for, and I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but the CERT program that's basically having citizens trained to help with emergency preparedness and response. From what I understand, OES has been somewhat resistant, or the local Lake County Sheriff. I'm not sure where the resistance is, but there is some local resistance. So if we can have that, maybe some sort of wording around direct citizen brigade involvement or something. I don't know if it necessarily needs to point directly to the CERT program, because I don't know if he'll still be around in 2050, but citizen involvement with emergency response in particular.
Yeah.
CERT's community emergency response team. And there is actually an active, if some with arthritic CERT team process up here. And there is a training that happened this year, and conversations are ongoing with OES about obtaining CERT certification for access during.
It's been going on for years, though. It feels like it's being slow walked.
Yeah.
So,
the only thing I could think of on that end would just be staff resource shortage. And they've been working, once Leah first got there, she had to redo the whole like local hazard mitigation plan real quick. And now was working on annexing. So I couldn't speak to their priorities, but I'm pretty sure if there is a limitation, that's what it must be. So, but that doesn't mean we can't put it in here as a policy. Either CERT program revitalization or supporting development of other citizen involved response teams.
Yeah, I want to follow up on that. And as with communication and redundancies with communication, these types of programs, we need to have redundancies with those as well. Does anyone have any idea how CERT's funding is and when their next funding cycle is? Because I have a feeling with a lot of these funding cycles, some of these programs aren't going to exist in the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. And we need to have redundancies in place for that. I hate to be the person to say that, but that is a reality we are very, very much going to be confronted with. I don't know at what levels, but it's definitely going to be something we're going to be confronted with.
No, Jessica, I agree with you 100%. It's why I bristle at the word efficiency, because efficiency and resiliency are inversely related. Right.
Good. With redundancy to get us through lean budget years. Got it.
So does anyone have ideas to throw out there? I mean,
does anybody have a what
to take it to a solutions level. How do we have those redundancies set in place? I mean, how do we go about doing that for the community?
Let's save
that. Yeah, that's a really important conversation. And I think one of the things that maybe, as a more general principle is that we do want to promote. I mean, I really do like the word resiliency because it implies redundancy in a lot of other issues, and it's the current buzzword.
All right, I need to stop us here because I got to get out and get to the board chambers. But
I'll just say, if I could, Maria, I did a quick check back to the area plan, and really what we put in there, it lists objectives and policies, and that's all that's listed in the previous plan.
Wow, that's kind of missing stuff. But fear not, a lot of the stuff that we're doing is similar in priorities to other area plans. So we have plenty of already existing implementations that we can plagiarize. So we'll be fine.
I'm assuming all of this will be electronic and accessible in the future, right? So
what
wouldn't it be great
when you say all this
kind of our gobies when they're all redone? Will they be electronic and accessible?
Yeah. The existing ones are electronic and accessible now.
Wouldn't it be great to be able to check some of those off and say, hey, implemented, completed?
It does feel good, I'll tell you. Yep.
That's the monitoring.
Doesn't happen a lot because
we'll let you go, Maria. Thank you for today.
Ongoing. But anyway, I got to go.
Thank you.
Bye, Maria.
Wait. Before I'll go, yes, awesome. Good job. Thank you, everybody. And Elliot, could you share that link to the document, please? Because your homework is reviewing the gobies so that we can, I'm going to take a look at it by the end of this week to see where we are. And if we need to schedule another meeting, I will reach out. And I'll include Robert. Robert, I'll add you to that mailing list.
And we're meeting tomorrow, right? At
tomorrow in person at Mandala.
In person, so we'll see people there. Have fun at the board and the board
Thank
chambers.
You. See you guys tomorrow. See you, everybody.
Thank you, Maria.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.